Luke McCowan is on pole position alongside Kenny Rosens, an advantage of nearly 0.3 of a second. Absolutely incredible. Maxime Marriott.
When I'm in a P2 against a GT, frankly in the drive, I think in the wet it would probably be even more embarrassing for myself.
Quite possibly, yeah. Those Michelin tyres those days, what an advert for Michelin tyres that particular day as the Continental short runners struggled away. But we're ready to go racing. Luke McCowan will lead us away in his Audi R8 V10. Off we go. We are racing at Road Atlanta for an hour here in the Apex Racing GT Trophy. And look at, a little duck and dive there from Kenny Rosens. He wants to make his way to the front straight away, but can he get that done? Side by side, up towards turn 3 and 4 for McCowan and Rosens, who gets through clean.
A couple of places, really very few changes there in the top 30, and we did avoid, at least in the first few corners, touch wood, the incidents that we've kind of come accustomed to so far this season. Might be Dean Powell just trying to gain some places, currently in 26th. Top of the outer jars, Randy Wilson has. But yeah, he's just kept behind Wilson right there, but super close race.
Very close indeed. In fact, I would say that was really quite risky for lap 1 because they ran so close, banging doors all the way along the straight that you can really run we've got a lot of drivers from different parts of the world here. We've got some American drivers, British, German, Portuguese, Russian, and you really run the risk of that slight discrepancy called netcode, which can easily cause an incident when you least expect it. So if drivers have got to be super careful when riding that close together. Now we'll get an update on Amaury Bondwell. Where has he got to so far? Had to start all the way at the back of the pack, but compromised his entry there to get the move done, but he did. He's got the track position. Hopefully he'll be able to keep a hold of it to turn 10A and B. As we look back, Kenny Rosens has taken the lead temporarily, but McCowan, big send and a little bit of a touch there. There's no room left anymore, and there's going to be Archie Barchie side by side. Who's going to be brave? They touch again. Oh my goodness me! How in goodness me! How did they get through there without ending up in the barrier? Close.
Well, their pace has been sublime so far. They're pulling away from the rest of the order, but that batting, unsurprisingly, has backed them all into the rest of the field. And like a gate in anger, never doubt this guy up 3 places so far, and all of a sudden he's got a terrific chance at taking his second race win of the season. But I'm really impressed by Mickey Owen's pace right now, but Rosens is driving so aggressively, considering that he's one of the favourites for the championship. He is putting everything on the line.
A double race winner up to now, but his tally unfortunately sits on 0 at this moment in time. Getting through that little exchange unscathed. There's a lot of drivers taking a lot of risk early on right now, Sam.
Yeah, they really are. I'm surprised by how aggressive they are, but fortunately, at least at the front, too many incidents so far in the race. So that is pretty impressive by the drivers. So we start the long train once again down into the chicane. Good news for Mickey Owen. I was thinking that maybe once Rosens got past, he might be able to pull away. Mickey Owen seems to have enough pace to just stay in the draft. He knows that anger won't do anything rash and potentially kind of lose the scent of the drives ahead. So expect that Audi to keep the Belgian honest for the rest of the race. As a bit further back, Engel has chopped back a bit actually. He was right with his teammates, of course, earlier on. So he's now going to defend against Valkyrie, who has had a couple of really good opening rounds of the championship, but a poor qualifying really for Antonio. Started only in 21st place. He's left himself quite a bit to do, as Collignon remains in 20th place. He was having to go defensive against Schneider there.
Yeah, as we've got another pesky Valkyrie Esports driver. Apologies folks if that's coming through on your screen. We have a problem with our overlay for some reason. Don't know what is going on today. So obviously the action is too fast paced here at Road Atlanta. You see Maxime Marriott in that is not Maxime Marriott. He's a couple of spots ahead. He's in that yellow
Is this
and black
him?
fiercely forward Audi. Yes, exactly. I thought I recognised the...
Right next to their name was Collignon, a pro driver himself. As Bonjour continuing on the comeback, he's gone up pretty much half the order now, and into 24th. As well, that is seriously close right there. He's trying to get past Randy Wilson, who is the leader of... How well has Wilson done to get up into 23rd position? He's up 3 places from his start and really been able to drop the other amateur drivers, who I think may have been caught up. 6th and 7th currently in the amateur category. Steam Power's going to be overtaken there by Dadswell. Both of these guys are 3 places down from their starts. And Power just runs a little bit deep around the backstreet.
Let's see if the grunt of the Mercedes AMG GT can try and retaliate there as well. Antonio Piezzi making nice and steady progress in his Audi R8 as G. McCohen are trading fastest lap of the race so far. Rosens was quickest last time by of anybody, and then McCohen has just answered straight back again at will. You can see Lemery in there as well for Valkyrie Esports, all running the BMW, and I wonder if this might be a factor throughout the season, Sam, because the sheer number of quick drivers that Valkyrie Esports have. I mean, I know we haven't got Amaury Bondwell up there at the moment, but that's obviously at the service qualifying ban, but in normal circumstances, having so many allies...
I think probably the best example in recent times is probably... No, it's certainly going to be an advantage. Fortunately for them, Lemery can't quite get up into 2nd place, just dropping back a little bit into 3rd now, which is bad news for the race leader, as... Pixel's got a huge train of cars right now behind him, trying to get, whilst Byrne is down 5, so this train might...
Oh, 15 minutes into this race, so we are already at 1/4, and he can just take it nice and steady, keep his tyres in good condition, and just keep that fuel number to a positive one. And when it comes to the pit stop, he'll save that time on the lane. Let's ride on board with Kate Manger for a few, we can hear how he's doing. So, yep, there you go. Big lift and coast. So what he's doing there, dear viewer, is just trying to save as much fuel as he possibly can, because any fuel he saves on track, that's fuel he doesn't have to put in at the pumps. You can just see that there as well, being able to use the draft of the car in front. It just pulls him along, and we saw him do this a number of times last season, Sam, in the ARL GT Trophy, and the amount of times where he would pull a blinder in the pit stop. Economy and Lamborghini are 2 words you don't often use in the same sentence.
Yeah, exactly. Their miles per gallon isn't exactly something to boast about, is it? But no, they're it works fine, doesn't it? And can often make that extra lap, and most importantly, just those 2 seconds shorts on fuel, because you can imagine if he had 2 seconds shorts now, he'd take the lead by about 0.8 of a second. So yeah, he knows exactly what he's doing here. Anger, however, the pace of the leaders is very strong. Reasons in clean air. I doubt he's able to lift and coast too much, because he runs the risk of dropping back, and he has just dropped it back a little bit there, 10th of a second slower than the driver ahead on that last lap, as Pixel is starting to pull away as we kind of expected, and it's left Byrne to cancel all these drivers behind.
We can also see that Kenny Rosen's teammate Lemery has moved up into 2nd position past McKeown, so maybe McKeown is just playing a clever game of fuel saving as well. Of course, the Lamborghini and the Audi, they share the same engine, 5.2 litre V10, naturally aspirated engine, which is almost quite unusual these days as well, but wonderful to have it. And of course, that Lamborghini, although this weekend we have the Nürburgring 24-hour, normally focused towards the big German factories, Audi, BMW, Mercedes, Porsche.
For the championship, that will be used by men. We have a great week next week, and so the drivers will probably test around the Porsche a little bit, see if that's the car that they want to go forwards with for the rest of the season. And yeah, expect to see plenty of them on the grid for the next round of the season.
Yeah, I think it will really shake things up, and what I want to see is which of the front runners go most. But yeah, that's a pity because but it would be nice to see a few more Mercedes in the field.
Yeah, well, that's a bold move, isn't it, from Colin Yon?
Yes, it was. Yeah, Steven Sander. That's what I love on these GT3 cars. They have the LED position light on the
bad race. One bad race, one good race, or two bad races. And so really in the amateur category it's anyone's game. Literally even drivers who maybe joined the series late who haven't taken part in the first 2 rounds, even they have a decent chance because really no one's been able to set up for a good start to the championship. And so really, despite not having a great first couple of rounds, Wilson really had a good chance at maybe getting to the top of the amateur standings up to tonight, but that spin has made it a bit more tricky for him. Karagiet now leading that category in 27th place overall. This is getting a bit tight now. This is moving through the back markers, and that is Bruisers and Lemuret making their way through. In this battle day, Anger's really dropped off, hasn't he?
I think maybe, as we see, there's quite a few cars here a lap down, and I think that's maybe just. And Road Atlanta is the sort of place, if you catch the lap traffic in the wrong place, like for example here at turn 3, 4, 5, and when it could get really messy in terms of cars being on different laps. So, and of course now with 35 minutes or so to go, the drivers could pit now and make it to the end.
Yes, these trials are limited to 60% fuel tank. If you're involved in a big wreck and you take back to the pits, then you kind of lose a lap. And I think that's part of the reason why we've got so many drivers kind of in amongst the drivers on the lead lap. We've got many drivers 1 lap down. So good to see.
Pascal Stix, our leader in the Christian Klein Salver for the best Austrian driver.
He's very much nailed his name down for that one, hasn't he? Very impressive so far this season. Sticks in that certain competition. But no, it is awesome to see such a range of nationalities. I mean, probably half the nations of Europe are represented out here, which is awesome to see. Yeah, really are pleased with how Apex Racing League has been able to attract lots of different drivers from around Europe. Because often we have series where you have kind of drivers from one specific nation, like British series, we've broadcasted a lot of them on Apex Racing TV in the past, but to see such a multinational grid as this, it's pretty cool. Also the ping ain't bad either, compared to maybe if we had a few more Americans, lots of Europeans, means that everyone's ping isn't too bad, not too many net codes for the drivers. Colin Winkler's had a little bit of a problem. His connection's dropping out, but he's back up into 2nd place, so don't worry guys. Ankerson is behind Colin Yon, but it was actually Colin Yon who was faster on the last lap, so I think he will actually start pulling away from Ankerson series on Sunday. And myself and Marco Barbino were discussing how we don't really see many crashes at the end of the S's, where you go onto the big curve and you can kind of get some oscillations. We haven't really seen too much of that tonight either. I'm sure we will do. We've still got half the race to go, but drivers are very neat and tidy around the back end of this SS section.
Yeah, I think that's where the traction control system is really, really helpful on these GT3 cars when you're coming through the blind crest, and you can really run it over the curb there. You can use probably more throttle than you perhaps think is really sensible, but often the traction control is just, if you can get the traction control just set just right, it's there to give you just enough of a helping hand. And of course that's where also the stability of each car really helps as well. BMW, very, very stable car as well, as probably most of all the Lamborghini. The Audi very, very fast in the right hands, with a good driver on board. The Audi is really, really impressive, but oh my word, is it twitchy. When it's not happy, it's really not happy.
Yeah, lots of you don't just get points for beating them in the amateur category, so it is worth these amateurs beating the pros as much as possible. It's very important on that front. Fenku, Stix, Spixeri, Arans all coming in. Still, the top 20 odd have not come into the pits, and crucially these top 3 haven't come into the pits as Anger's just continued to lose pace. Peter, it just seems like he doesn't have the pace of the top 3 tonight, honestly.
No, it doesn't appear so. He's certainly not been able to get through the traffic as well as Rosens, Lemery and McEwen have. Let's see how it plays out over the course of the whole race. But yeah, it's been a very impressive debut here from Luke McEwen in the ARL GT Trophy, and matching Rosens and Lemery blow for blow. Bondswell moves up yet again, goes past Sven Newman like he's standing still, and that's something you do not see very often. Sven Newman, a very, very fast driver for Corson Racing, and just as he does that, whoa, swoops into pit lane with Newman in hot pursuit, and then straight on the pit limiter and in for service. Very good opening stint for Amaury Bondswell from the back of the pack.
Yeah, excellent driving. He's only, I think, well, before the pit stops, I can't tell now, but I think before the pit stops he was 20 seconds off the lead. That's amazing. To start as far back as he did, I think off the rolling start you've already lost like 10 seconds. Oh, wow. That was one of the Ferraris coming back onto circuit. I think that wasn't Steve Brown. I accused Steve Brown earlier on. I think that was Rasmussen. That time, JB Rasmussen, who was coming back onto circuit, and yeah, nearly caused absolute chaos there for McEwen. He barely had to lift out of it in the end. He's not hesitating one bit. Now, will these drivers have to come in on this lap? I think they may have to. They've got traffic around them as well, absolutely surrounding these top 3, and it does seem they are all going to come into the pits, but McEwen did
be busy over the next 5 minutes or so. You can see from our SDK Gaming overlay track map on your top right hand side of your screen, you can see all these little red and white M&Ms circling around pro cars. White ones are AM cars, and the number signals there.
And just got within the line in time, but I don't think there's any chance of him jumping either reasons. Maybe there was a possibility, but these guys have had a completely clean out lap, and I think if anything will probably extend their lead.
Yeah, all about that out lap. They've just played the traffic gaming overlay. Sam would have been able to tell that. Well, just as they say that, Luke McEwen pops out in the lead, and if you're Kenny Rosen at the wheel of that Valkyrie BMW as the Audi driver comes out and takes the track position, well, that what does that say, Sam? Does that mean Luke McEwen was just holding?
Well, he was saving fuel, certainly, because his pit stop time was 2 seconds shorter than Reasons. I mean, that's not particularly surprising. What's surprising was that he was 1.7 seconds shorter than Lemery. And you think Lemery had just as much draft as McEwen did. So taking the lead into the chicane, this is where he managed to get it done earlier on. McEwen defending for all he's worth. Up the inside again goes Reasons, but there's contact between the two of them, and sliding through from third position is Lemery, and McEwen was the loser out there, and frankly, Peter, that was just a matter of time, because from lap 1 those two...
It's almost got a little sort of mini short shoot in the middle, so let's get another look at it from Chopper and see. So they're just about side by well, and I don't know. It seemed a little bit on the heavy side there from Rosens.
I'm surprised that he's fought this hard. Maybe he's not taking the championship too seriously, and I don't mean that, harshly or anything. These guys are racing out here for fun. After all, they should be enjoyable. And he may, bouncing that hard.
How much of a margin McEwen had in qualifying, 3/10. And I wonder here, Sam, will we see perfect formation flying and coordination from Lemery and Rosens, or will we see maybe a little bit of bickering, and any little tiny loss in momentum and McEwen will be all over them? And look who he's bringing with him, the wily devil, Gaten Anger, who was about, and they came out of their pit stop.
And that one too much into the chicane, and Rosens getting past. I think that's good news for both of these drivers, honestly, because I think Lemery was going to hold Rosens up and going to drop them back. But yeah, more traffic. Oh, that's Gafenki. And Gafenki, he just got past Rebstad. Bonjour as well, just behind Bonjour, only 19 seconds off the lead, despite starting down in 40. About to gain another place here, not even fighting that one. Rebstad probably realising the calibre of driver who he's racing against the amateur category. So that's a shame. Ironically, his team name's called Slippery Banana. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Oh, Gavenki defending against Bonjour. Gavenki got third at Monza. I'm calling correctly. Bonjour, of course, won that race. I think
not what. Yeah, you do. This is not what Bonjour needs. He's got a lot of pace here, but Gavenki is very much within his rights to defend as hard as he can. This would be a great result for the Romanian driver. And yep, in full BMW driver fashion, Bonjour liberally using the headlight flasher, which would use their indicators liberally. It's on the same stop usually.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know that.
Sorry to, well, no, not sorry to any BMW drivers out there. Anyone in the chat, if you want to defend yourselves, well, Gavenki's certainly defending himself. Oh, well, he didn't have enough though. Just counting, braking there. Bonjour up into 9. Gavenki doesn't know when to give up. The BMW's usually pretty quick down the straight, and the Lambo isn't usually very quick down the straight, so maybe he'll be alright here. Also, of course, different downforce levels, undoubtedly these drivers will be running. Certainly no comeback there from Gavenki. I think probably just lifted off a little bit down the front straight. By the way, big thanks to Virtual Racing School for helping us out on this series.
We must heed a word of warning though, that the something like the Audi is renowned for actually being one of the cheapest GT3 cars to run at about €15 per kilometre. The Ferrari, of course, is the most expensive, €40 per kilometre. So a lap of the Nürburgring is €1,000 basically. Just it's been hovering at almost exactly the
place. There they are. Slow down, I can only imagine maybe at the start of the S's, which he suddenly realised he had to serve. Wasn't a big slow down there, I don't think he can play too much. Again, referencing the IGP fun we had on Sunday. That turn 3, it's totally blind when you're in the car. It's worse than a single seater, but in a GT car you can take more of the curb. It's so easy to pick up the curb, and you kind of turn in before you even see the apex, so it's very tricky for the driver. It's very easy mistake to make there, and he's maybe got one more place up his sleeve. He's got Winkler up ahead for 7th place. This guy started, remember, in 44.
Will ride from Amaury Bonduelle, and it could be very, very key to his championship chances. But at the moment, Kenny Rosen's his teammate leading Ray by just over 0.3 of a second, so actually that gap is narrowing now. So those Valkyrie Esports guys getting very close together with one another now, with just 6 minutes to go here at Road Atlanta. So I wonder when is there team orders in play? Are they holding station, or when maybe they might get into a little bit of a ding-dong battle? We shall see. Because for Rosens, of course, far, despite leading for so long at Hockenheim and then having an incident with a back marker, I suspect that will be playing on his mind at this moment.
Yeah, I would have thought so. He still won't be leading the championship. Gaten Anger will still be leading the championship after this round. Rosens lost so many points back at home. He'll have some catching up still, probably be only in the mid part of the season where he'll catch up, even if he does, win all the rounds. Until then, you do have the job scored though, but I think with 6 more rounds to go after this one, you've got to assume it's a result. Just being realistic. Bonjour, wow, that's got the Chris Chitline speed, hasn't he? Wonder if he's taken a bit of wing out of that car, just so that it's a bit more raceable.
That's bizarre. Actually, of course, incident points has an automatic system that if you step over track limits, you're given 1 incident point. If you have a spin, which of course Luke Bowen hasn't had, you get 2 incident points. But if you make 4, and so obviously it only takes
so far. So yeah, I don't know, but yeah, I guess by the way, at Cagiet having a terrific battle for 2nd place in the ads, but they're about to be overtaken by the leaders in the pro, so they're going to do 1 less lap, and that will be good news for Wilson. This is going to be the chance for Cagiet to move back past Seems like whoever's behind in this battle always has the pace advantage. Meisner had to make up a lot of time, remember. Earlier on, he has caught up, but ever since he got past the first time, about 10 minutes ago, he's either made mistakes or it's just been a second win for Karagiet. He's been able to move ahead. Winkler's up into 6th position, by the way. Minkyo just getting a little bit held up. And yeah, Winkler up into 6th. So something happening in that battle for 6th place.
Yeah, Bonjour just moving up into 8th position now, and interesting also, this will be interesting to see what the difference is in pace between these guys. That BMW of Bonjour really got some boogie on the straight, going around the outside of McCone, and actually you can see there's quite of McCone's Audi, so there's something going on. I'll tell you what it might have been, Sam, it could have been a clash with a black marker potentially.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, they kind of very much fast tracky to those 16 incidents. Yeah, I'm quite sure on that. Hopefully we'll have an interview in there, although I doubt he'll want to have a chat, honestly, because after taking pole position, 7th place isn't where he'd want to be.
Neither driver's got significant damage. They're bound to have a little bit of an effect, but nevertheless, there's a heck of a lot of damage at the front of McCohen's Audi, so there's definitely something happened, because it was not like that before. But of course, who does that benefit, Sam? Peyton Anger, our defending champion, and of course, although can be able to strike back and get a win, well, and he does come up over the bridge now as well. Kenny Rosens finally gets his win here in the Apex Racing League GT Trophy. They come over the line. Valkyrie, Esport, Lemery in second, and getting off there from Randy Wilson. Thoroughly deserved the win. Just so quick all day long, and yeah, thoroughly deserved his AM class win. But Kenny Rosens, of course, put it on pole at Monza by 0.4 of a second, and that didn't go to plan. Then at Hockenheim, put it on pole, leading by a really good margin, and a little clash with a back marker, not his fault really, and that lost him a win, but he get by just a whisker. They both come over the line in flying formation. Gaten Anger, though, the championship leader, winner at Hockenheim, on the podium once again for his rivals to get a jump on him. Stefani Nikolajevic was 4th, with Maxime Marriott rounding out the top 5 for Fiercely Forward. Among 44th to 6th place, absolutely extraordinary. Carl Winker came home in 7th, with Brandon Taboni 8th, Richard Gafencu 9th, and Jonathan Poole Pro Class top 10. And looking at your AM drivers as well, now it's showing Corentin Collignon, he is not in the AM class, he is in the Pro Class. So Randy Wilson at Road Atlanta, with Dennis Meisner 2nd, followed by Alan Carigier, George